All right, go get your homework handouts out. If you did the extra credit, maybe on the back side of the handout, go ahead and have that as well. Actually, the handout was in the description of the video. Were you able to watch the YouTube video?
I watched it. I didn't know the handout.
Yeah, the handout was in the description of the video. I don't think I even mentioned that. Don't write on it. Well, actually, you can. Just write on it. It's fine. Let's go ahead and take a look at the homework together. First problem, I gave you two sides of a right triangle, and I marked an angle theta in the top corner. Told you the hypotenuse had a length of 10. This leg had a length of 3. Before we can find the trig ratios, I need to first find what, Ethan?
The other leg.
The other leg. And how would I find the other leg?
The
Pythagorean Theorem. And I said no decimals. I want exact values. So if we're looking for exact values, that means our answer is going to either be a fraction or it's going to be a radical. And so we're going to use the Pythagorean Theorem. We're going to square the hypotenuse, square the leg, subtract, and take the square root, but it's not going to come out evenly. We're going to have to leave it as what, anyone?
Square root of 91.
Square root of 91. Now, if you got a decimal value, that's around 9.5-ish, something like that. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted square root of 91. So that when we find the sine of theta, the cosine of theta, the tangent of theta, the cotangent of theta, the secant of theta, and the cosecant of theta, we will get fractional rather than decimal answers. What would we get for the sine of theta, Quentin?
square root of 91 over 10.
Good. It's opposite over hypotenuse, square root of 91 over 10. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and get the reciprocal class. Cosecant, which would be?
And that's square root of 91 over 91.
And 10 square root of 91 over 91. Cosine, what over what, Jamie?
Adjacent over hypotenuse.
Which gives us?
3 over 10.
And while we're at it, let's go and get the reciprocal class.
10 over 3.
Secant, which is 10 over 3. And the tangent, Chris, is what over what?
Adjacent, or opposite over adjacent.
Opposite over adjacent, which is?
Square root of 91 over 3.
Square root of 91 over 3. And while we've got the tangent, let's go ahead and get the reciprocal class. Cotangent, which is?
3 times square root of 91 over 91.
3 square root of 91 over 91. How many have these answers here? Did you go decimals?
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention.
Pay attention.
I'll take them in the last 5 minutes of study also.
Find all 6 trig functions that are using exact values. No decimals.
Yeah, I just...
Same thing? Or did you get the wrong length?
I bumped the 9.5 up to 10.
For shame. All right, number 2, rewrite in terms of the cofunction. How would I rewrite the cosine of 40 degrees in terms of the cofunction, Ethan?
Sine 90 degrees minus 40.
Good. The sine of, change to the cofunction, also take the complementary angle, 90 degrees minus 40 degrees, which is?
Sine 50 degrees.
Sine of 50 degrees is rewritten in terms of the cofunction. What about the secant of alpha, Quentin?
Cosecant 90 degrees minus alpha.
And here, unlike 90 minus 40, which gives us a nice easy value, 50, you really can't do that with 90 minus alpha. So the secant of alpha becomes the cosecant of 90 minus alpha. We'll have to leave it just like that. Jamie, when we have the cotangent of, what is that, beta, have we seen beta before? Yeah. Looks like a little b with a stick sticking out the end of it. Beta plus 10 degrees. Jamie, we'll rewrite this initially as?
Tangent 90 degrees minus b plus 10 in parentheses.
Beta plus 10 degrees. And then, of course, we need to remove the parentheses and?
Add the inverse or change the sign.
Right, to get?
9 minus b minus 10 degrees.
Minus beta minus the 10 degrees. We'll combine our like values, the 90 and the negative 10 to get?
80 degrees minus b.
There we go. Tangent of, it's not b, 80 degrees minus?
The delta?
Beta. Beta. 80 degrees minus beta. And there's our answer there. How many got all 3 of those correct? Got all 3 of those correct. Good news is on quizzes and tests, I don't ask you to say them out loud. Number 3, solve for a in each trig equation. We were given that for a particular value of a, the secant of 4a is exactly equal to the cosecant of 2a. We said for a trig equation like this, we want to get rid of those trig functions, right? We're used to equations from our algebra days. We're not used to this. But if we could get rid of those trig ratios, it'd be like an ordinary equation. Chris, what's the first key to getting rid of those trig ratios?
Cosecant 90 minus 4a.
Good. Change to the same function, so they both say cosecant. We'll use a cofunction to do that, exactly as Chris said, cosecant of 90 minus 4a. And because they both say cosecant, Ethan, we can cancel. And now it's like any other ordinary equation. In fact, if we wanted to, we could go through and take off those parentheses. Ethan, what would we do now?
We'll go for the negative 4 is positive.
To get
6a.
6a is equal to
90 degrees.
90 degrees. And when we divide, we get a is equal to
15 degrees.
15 degrees. If you wanted to check, what's 4 times 15, anyone?
No,
60.
60.
Think 4 quarters of a football game, a 60-minute game. 60, and then what's 2 times 15?
30.
30. Is the secant of 60 equal to the cosecant of 30? Well, yeah, 60 and 30 are complementary angles. Complementary functions, complementary angles, it checks out. How many got 15 degrees for A?
In my head, I did.
All right, let's take a look at the next one where we have the tangent of A minus 10 degrees equal to the cotangent of A. And once again, we want to make the trig functions the same. We want to make them match. And which one should we change here, Quentin?
Cotangent.
I would change the whatever side has the easier value. So I would start over here. I'm going to keep the tangent of the A negative 10 degrees, but I'm going to rewrite cotangent of A as...
Tangent 90 degrees minus a.
Right, the tangent of 90 degrees minus A. And of course, next thing we need to do, Jamie,
Cancel the tangents.
could cancel those tangents away. And of course, we could ignore the parentheses at the same time. Then what, Chris?
You just do the equation. So it would be 2a equals 100, so 50, a equals 50.
Good. Bring the A to the other side as a positive 8, get 2a, so the negative 10 over is a positive 10, you get 100. Divide by 2, and you said A equals...
50. Degrees.
There we go,
Almost
50
said- I
degrees.
should almost say
And there's our
regular.
answer. How many had the 50 degrees for the second problem there? Look in your books, page 18. How many did the extra credit, number 51? All of you, except Chris, who was left leaving early yesterday because he wasn't feeling well. Number 51. And let me take a look at your answers to this. All right, Jamie and Ethan with the correct answers.
Really?
All right, so Quentin, let's see if we can figure out what happened here. All right.
Say psych.
In fairness, this problem is harder than what you would see on quizzes and tests, so.
Mine is be right.
All right. Well, let's see if we can figure out why you should have expected something to be right here. We've got cosine of p is equal to 1 over the cosecant of 10 plus p. As soon as I see 1 over, Quentin, I should be thinking reciprocal. What is the reciprocal of cosecant? Sine. So, in other words, I could rewrite 1 over cosecant of 10 plus p as simply... Right, the sine of 10 plus p, right? This is just a straight up reciprocal. But since I'm changing this to the sine, I should probably try to change this to the sine also so the trig functions will match. How do I change cosine into sine? Not reciprocal.
90 minus
Right, we call that the
cofunction.
cofunction, right? Remember co means complementary, the complementary function. So I'm going to change this to...
Sine 90 minus
Right, sine of 90 minus p. Then from here, we can cancel away the sines and go from here. Did you get to this point in your equation by any chance?
No.
Okay, does it make sense now, though?
Yeah.
All right, Ethan and Jamie, this isn't the only way to do it, but I think this is the most direct way. Is this the way you approached it?
I did a different way.
You did, but you did not. Jamie, what did you do? And then we'll finish it out.
I had changed to sine, but then I changed the right side to the cosine.
Okay, so you left the cosine alone the whole time. You changed this to sine, and then you made this cosine of 90 minus 10 plus p. All right, now again, I'd rather do 90 minus p than 90 minus 10 plus p, because then I've got parentheses and all that. That's lazy. So we scribble this out, kind of similar to what Chris had on the last one. We've got a negative p and a positive p. Bring the negative over, Quentin, to get 2p. Bring the 10 over this time as a negative to get 80. And then when we divide both sides by 2, we'll get p is equal to 40 degrees. And that is the correct answer to our extra credit number 51.
I'll take that extra point.
Questions on that? Any questions on the homework at all? All right, go and clear your desk except for a clean sheet of paper and a pencil and a calculator. One clean sheet of paper, a pencil, and a calculator. First and last name at the top of your paper, along with today's date, which is 8/20/21. 8/20/21, today's date. First and last name, 8/20/21, today's date. And this is quiz 3. What happened to quiz 2, you say? I threw it out years ago. So we jumped from quiz 1 to quiz 3, just to make people wonder. All right?
Why did you throw it out?
I didn't like it anymore.
You'll find out.
Just like my
Happens in life sometimes. You know, you have a student, you're like, I don't like them, and you just throw them out. I'm just
I
kidding.
should spell it even.
You!
True.
All right. Remember to use the quiz copy as a cover sheet. Do not write on the quiz copy. This is simply for you to work. Let's take a look at this together. Numbers 1 through 4. You're going to refer to that triangle over there. Notice it's not the same angle both times. Numbers 1 and 2 are referring to angle A. 3 and 4 are referring to angle B. So make sure we're careful to do the correct thing. Number 5 is straight up question. Number 6, 7, 8, rewriting in terms of the cofunction. 9 and 10, solving those trig equations, using some cofunctions. And then, if you were paying really good attention a few lessons ago, you might have a shot at the bonus. I actually only need one of them. It says 3. You just give me 1, I'll give you the bonus points. All right, you may begin. Keep your work covered. Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay that someone wrote right here?
It is not okay that someone wrote right there. Some previous senior is a failure in life. Thank you for sharing. By the way, if they're that bad of a failure, I wouldn't trust what they wrote either. Just as a strategy, Chip. Don't gamble that that's a correct number you just thought. I got all 4 wrong because of them? No, you paid attention to the wrong guy. I'm going to end the video, and then we'll resume when we're finished with our quiz.